It's the story of Forest season, isn't it? The complete lack of consistency. Well, I suppose they're consistently inconsistent, if that makes any sense. You kind of know what to expect these days, just as they make you think that they're about to turn a corner and finally make that step up into the top six. They managed to frustrate and disappoint. Now, they weren't terrible at Ipswich, but they weren't the team that performed against Hull City either, or against Derby, or in the games they'd won previously under Martin O'Neill when that optimism had started to grow. So a draw was probably a fair result. They can look back at that decision to rule out Daryl Murphy's perfectly good goal, which, if you want to add up the points in recent weeks that they missed out on because of refereeing decisions, the dive at Preston, the dive at West Brom, the Joe Lolly goal that was ruled out at Preston for no real explicable reason, and now this Daryl Murphy goal that was decided they ruled was offside when he was 2 or 3 yards on. It wasn't even close. Now, I don't know how they got it wrong, but perhaps the referee evened things up later in the game when Ipswich had a penalty claim that was overlooked, so maybe he evened it out with 2 bad decisions.
Absolutely. Now we're at this international break. Like you say, Martin O'Neill's been here for 11 games, and I think it's 4 of the 11 that he's won. What have you made since he's come in?
It could have been 6 of 11 if not for those decisions at West Brom and Preston, without labouring the point too much. I think it hasn't been spectacular, but nor has it been bad. I think it's probably been more or less what you would expect from a new manager coming into a new team, stamping his ideas on the squad, having to cope with the January transfer window where he had to make a few key additions, most notably in the centre of defence, where they made good additions in Ben Iloane and Milosevic in particular. Wage looked okay on Saturday. He's had a lot to contend with in a short space of time, getting to know an entirely new squad, familiarising himself with club football management again. I think he's done okay. I think it's been a reasonably positive start. There's lots of sources of encouragement, and any suggestion, as there was this morning on Twitter, that he should go already is just baffling. It's 11 games in, a new manager, a new era. Chop and change has been too frequent at Forest in the past. Let's not go down that path again.
Fans have already been calling for his head on the back of that draw.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's baffling, isn't it? Literally 11 games in under a new manager, and some people. Admittedly, look. There's 2 ways of seeing it. I always think there's a vocal minority on Twitter. I don't want to make generalisations, but I get the feeling that most of some of the noisier ones aren't necessarily people that go to every game. And then in contrast, you've got at the same time 6,000 people have already renewed season tickets at Nottingham Forest in the space of a few days. I think that's probably a more accurate description of the mood of optimism and hope that surrounds the club. That people are still having faith and buying a season ticket for next season already, even when we don't know how this season's going to turn out.